Here I'm going to talk about how to program with the found hole groups that you did when you went through the machining feature navigator section to find holes on a part. So after you've gotten your part and you've found the holes, there's a couple things that we can do here to make programming actually a little bit easier. So some tips and tricks. In this instance, we found one hole on the top here, 4 on the top there, and then 3 on the side. So this one on the top, we're going to go ahead and delete that because we're not going to worry about drilling that hole. These 3 on the side, they're 3/4 with a flat bottom. We're not going to worry about those either. We'll probably ramp them or hole mill them with an end mill. So we'll delete those. So we're left with this one section. Now you might have a part that has a dozen different hole sizes. So you'd have a bunch of these left over. A good habit is to hover over the wording here, and then it's going to tell you your diameter, which you'll see is 250. So I like to take this and type in 250. Now, the reason I did not put a point in front of that is NX does not like decimals in names, and you'll see it's going to give me an error. So I'm going to name that 250 for 0.250 diameter holes. Since this group is under my workpiece with my MCS, I can program with it. So we'll go ahead back to the program order view, and I'm going to say create operation. I'm going to go ahead to hole making, and I will select the hole drilling with my 1/4" drill here. And for the program folder, I'm going to put it in my op1. But for geometry, I'm going to select my 250 that you see here now for my 1/4" holes. If I go ahead and say OK, and I'm just going to quickly go ahead and say OK again, we can then pop back to our geometry view, and you can see that the toolpath is underneath that 1/4" hole group. Going back to our programming view, we can double click on the toolpath to open it up, and then if we click specify feature geometry, you can see that it already has those holes selected. So then we can actually go ahead and just hit generate, and you can see that there's the holes drilled. Now the depth is not correct, but we remember that it was a 1" depth, so we can say specify feature geometry again. At the top here, use our predefined depth. We can make that 1". It's going to change our depth right here to all be exactly the same 1". And then we can say OK and drill again, and then say OK. And now, very quickly, without having to select any holes, you can see that you have drilled your 4 1/4" holes that you found.